Welcome to my tutorial on how to get started in surviving Mars. We will not be going through the tutorial part, we will be going directly into creative mode, as I feel that's the easiest way to learn the game. So join me on a run into this amazing game, which I really love. And hello and welcome to this little tutorial on how to get started in surviving Mars. The game is not easy, that's for sure. It's a tough one, but when you get a little bit into it and understand the basics of it, then you begin to get better at it. It takes a few tries to get a colony that actually works. The version I'm running includes some DLCs. Currently I'm using the Deluxe Edition. I have the Green Planet, Project Laika, Colony Design Set, Below and Beyond, Future Contemporary Cosmetic Pack, and Martian Express. The rest is more or less radio stations. There is a single one that I have decided not to include here. It's called Space Race, which is very basically a package full of that allows you to have competitors on your colony. It's not the most important thing, I would say. There's also one called In-Dome Building Pack. It is actually a good one. It's not that necessary, but it's a good one, as it includes some additional buildings for your domes when you get to that point. We will not go into that today. We will probably just go into basically just before we hit domes and are beginning to build those. So yeah, the first part is of course what to choose. The tutorial, I tried it a few times, not really that good. New game is basically just a survival game immediately. Load game gives itself. Challenge mode, where you have some objectives that you need to complete within a time limit. And the creative mode, where you basically can do whatever you want. I am going for the creative mode, as it's the one I feel is the best. And the most simple to start in. So we select that. I do not have any mods installed, only a radio station, but that shouldn't interfere with anything here. Okay, mission setup, difficulty challenge 100%. 100% is what is considered very easy. Or easy in this case. It's almost like base game learning. So we are going to do something using that number or close to that number. The first one here, our colony, you can basically select a name for it if you want. It can also be changed later, so it's not necessary to do it right now. Mission sponsor, we got some different ones, and these all have different pros and cons. The International Mars mission is the one that the game has decided that we are starting with. As you can see, difficulty very easy. Funding 30 million, 30,000 million. That's free. That's 30 billion. Starting applicants 700. Applicants is basically people that wants to move from Earth to Mars. Research per soul is how much research you can get per day. That is a base level in this case, and then you can add on top of it. So in this case you get 3,300 per day for your research. Research is something we will dive a little bit into later on. Rare metals price 25 millions per piece. Rare metals are a type of metal you can find on the surface that is very good at two things: electronics and exporting from Mars to Earth. The payload on the rocket is 770,000 kilograms. That's quite a lot, to be honest. Colonists never get Earthsick, so they don't feel that they want to go back to Earth. Food supply from passenger rockets increased, so you get 10 times more food than you actually, or you normally would. Rockets synthesize fuel. Yeah, they use fuel, and a few things here. Start with a self-sufficient dome prefab. Prefabs is basically a kind of building that is ready to be deployed on the surface. You can buy prefabs from Earth, or you can research them and then learn how to build them later on. But it's a good idea, especially in the beginning, to have some prefabs. We will dive into that later. And this one says recommended for first-time players. USA, difficulty easy, funding 8 billion compared to 30 million. Starting applicants 600, research result the same, and the same rare metal price. There's a large rocket payload and periodically additional funding, so they will give you a little bit more funding once in a while. Blue Sun Corporation, easy again, 10,000 or 10,000 millions or 10 billions. 600 in applications or applicants. Research 3,100. 30 million in rare metal price. Can buy applicants with funding. Additional rockets are significantly cheaper. Probes can discover deep rare metal deposits. Bonus tech, deep metal extraction, can extract deep metals and rare metal deposits. That's a good one, but normally that is something you get when you learn or when you research things. China, a little bit more here. The rocket can carry 10 additional colonists, and the applicants are generated twice as fast. Otherwise, it's more or less like the other ones. India, a little bit more difficult. You can see now we're up in difficulty normal. The building cost is reduced by 20%, and you get low G engineering. Unlocks something called a medium dome. The price for rare metals is a little bit lower. The research is more or less the same. The funding is a little bit lower. Europe, exactly the same. You get 5 extra starting technologies. That's a good thing. Gain funding every time a tech is researched, and gain double if it's a breakthrough tech. There's some different types of research that we can get, and some of them are breakthroughs, and they really have a huge influence on the game on how it's played. Space Y, it's almost like it's Space X, but okay. Again, you can see some different versions here. 50% cheaper advanced resources. Drone hubs, that for the cheap advanced resources, it's mostly if you want to buy them from Earth and send them to Mars. We will have to do that quite a lot until we are self-sufficient. Terraforming initiative. Again, a few things here, and as you can see, all terraforming techs are 50% cheaper for research. Forestation plants do not require power. Can import RC dozers from start. RC dozers is a kind of remote controlled bulldozers that will do work for you. There's some bonus tech. Martian vegetation unlocks the forestation plant, and interplanetary projects unlocks terraforming special projects. Those are 2 techs we will also be able to research in all of the other ones. Church of the Ark, you can see now we're up into the hard difficulty, and all of them have pros, but of course they are also quite, and there's also cons for every one of them. Russia is a hard one. They do have fuel extractors quite early on, and fuel extractors upgrade is free. You get fuel refinery prefab costs 50% less, and rockets have extended travel time, so they are a bit slower to travel than everyone else. And Paradox Interactive, hard, 4 billion in funding, 575 in start applicants. Research per soul 3,100. Rare metal price 24. Discover more breakthroughs and anomalies. Researching a breakthrough check grants applicants, and rocket requires more fuel to launch. So it's already a little bit tougher. I would always go with the International Mars mission, especially as a beginner. It's by far the easiest one, and it's the one where you can do the most. Commander profile, as it says right here, the mission commander grants various benefits to the colony. In this case, because we are rocket scientists, we start with an extra rocket and we get a bonus tech, CO2 jet propulsion, unlock space hub or shuttle hub, and long range transportation. Already a good thing, but let's have a look at them. Geoengineer, seeds import cost reduced by 50%. 2 greenhouse gas factories, 2 greenhouse forestation plants. That's prefabs you get from the beginning. Bonus tech, designed forestation, newly grown forest have a chance to spawn vistas and research sites. It is vistas and research sites are locations on the surface where you will get bonuses if you have a dome nearby these sites. For example, vistas is very popular and gives a morale boost in general for all people living in that dome. And the research site gives you additional research when you research or have a dome where there's some research in this dome. We got a few other. Space Miner is a new one because it's a part of the Below and Beyond pack or DLC. Spelunker, colonists regain sanity while the underground instead of losing sanity. An elevator and 2 drone hub extenders, and a bonus tech, underground domes. That's a good thing, but we will not look into that yet. Transport Tycoon, track construction costs are halved. 2 stations and a large station. It's a new DLC for the game where you have train stations to allow people and goods to travel longer distances than you normally would, and in reality it actually is a little bit faster, but in the beginning it's not really useful because we don't even have that tech to use it. City Mayor, there's again a bunch of good things there. As you can see, get 2 billion additional in funding from the beginning, and buildings requires upkeep less often. And there's a bonus tech, Mars Nouveau, include building costs in metal and concrete are reduced by 20%. Inventor, drones are gradually optimized to work and construct faster until Sol 100. A Sol is basically 1 full day. On Earth it's 24 hours. On Mars it's actually something like 24 hours and 15, or is it 25 hours? It's something like that. Autonomous hubs, drone hubs no longer require power and maintenance. That's a nice thing, I do have to say. Oligarch, fuel production increased by 25%, and you get a what is called the archaeology, which is a building that has some, which is a research, and you get what is called the residential spire, which is basically just a spire that is in the middle of a dome where you can have a lot of residents in. Hydro Engineer, start with a water deposit revealed. That's a nice thing from the beginning. Domes consume 25% less water, and water reclamation unlocks a spire, which reduces water consumption. Great idea. Doctor, minimum comfort required for birth lowered by 15. Bonus tech, steam construction, colonist lifespan is increased. Psychologist, colonists recover 5 additional sanity while resting in their homes. Bonus tech, behavioral shaping, unlocks a sanatorium spire, which treats colonists' flaws. So all your colonist has both some good things and some flaws, some benefits and flaws. And of course, the flaws can be very, very annoying, but the benefits can also be both good and not so good. We will look into that in a little bit. Politician, all funding gains are increased by 20%, and we get the Martian patents bonus tech, which basically can be used a lot of times to give you additional funding. The more you use it, the less funding you get, but you can always do that continuously. Futurist breakthrough tech is researched 20% or 30% faster. Autonomous sensors. These sensor towers no longer require power or maintenance. A sensor tower is a tower that sees if there is a meteor or meteor shower or earthquake or something like that happening, and then it gives you a warning. And the more towers you have, the longer a period you have to prepare. I think if you just build one, you get from 0 to 18 hours. And then if you have 2 of these sensors, you get up to 36 hours. So that's how it works. Ecologist, service comfort of decorations increase by 10%, and hanging gardens unlocks a spire which improves residence in the dome. Astrogeologist, start with a rare metal deposit revealed, extractor production increased by 10%. And we get bonus tech, deep scanning, allows the scanning of sectors for deep deposits. Great idea to have that. Rocket scientist, start with an extra rocket and you get these O2 or CO2 jet propulsion, which unlock the shuttle hub and long range transportation. I am mostly keen on using that because it might not seem like the best, but having the shuttle hub quite early on is a great idea because that allows you to transport goods very, very quickly and very, very fast. So we will go with that one. Company logo has no influence on the game. You can choose whatever you want. You can see there's some different ones, and it's basically what you decide. It can be logos, it can be names, it can be International Mars Mission in this case, it can be, for example, if you want to have the Russia as a logo, or India or China or USA as a logo instead of the standard one, which would be the International Mars Mission, then you can just decide that. I will probably go with the Voyager. Not that it has any influence, it's just aesthetic. Nothing, and it will only be shown on the rockets that you will see in the game. Mystery. Select an active storyline for this playthrough. You can select a random one, you can select an easy, the power of 3. I have never tried these out. I'm always going with none. That's the easiest one to start with, and it just makes the gameplay a lot easier for you. Game rules, we will have a look at them. No, below and beyond. We need that one active actually. So it has to be unchecked over here. Active plates tectonic, no thank you. No terraforming. That simply allows me not to terraform at all. I would like to do that. No events. That is actually one I would choose. Because the events can be quite annoying. Chaos theory. Tech fields are fully randomized. I would probably keep that. Prefab colony, begin with 3 prefabs of all buildings necessary for a small colony. Yes, sir. Especially in the beginning, when you are trying to learn the game. Easy maintenance. Buildings never malfunction due to lack of maintenance. Achievements are disabled. And easy research. Add 3,000 research points per soul and reveals all technologies. Achievements are disabled. Those are really good. Both of them are really good. Endless supply. The first universal depot you place will automatically fill with resources each soul. I will actually not select that one. I think it's easier to learn the game if you don't have that. It sounds like a fantastic idea, but in reality, no. Because you never have to do anything. You never have to worry about anything. You never have to take precautions about something. So it's very important that we will try to do that as early as possible. Simplified trains. No train management. Trains are free and added to tracks when those are built. We will do that ourselves, so no, don't change that. Restricted footwalk. With trains as an alternative, colonists will travel shorter distances safely on their own. We will keep that one. Fast rockets, 100%. It's really good to have the fast rockets. Free scanning, oh yes. Or fast scanning, sorry. Scanning of sectors is 10 times faster. That's a good one to start with. Later on, when you learn the game, it's better to then you can put this one on and to get a little bit more to spend more time. Reconstruction, oh no. I would not choose that. It sounds like a fantastic idea that you can build everything for free. In reality, I actually don't like it. What it basically does is that you can build everything and you don't have to worry about materials for it or resources. So you don't really need to plot down any. You don't need to get metal, you don't need to get concrete, you don't need to get anything. Sure, it sounds like a great idea if you want that, but no. Increase production, yes. The base production of all resources is doubled. Production from upgrades and other modifiers is unchanged. Iron colonists can't lose health or sanity below 50 and cannot become earthsick. There is no founder stage. Achievements are disabled. Great, we will keep that. More applicants, you get 500 more people to search for. More tourists. Keep the tourists away for as long as possible. That's my bet. That's my mentality in the game. I will not add that one. No disasters. Oh yeah. We will absolutely check that one on. It might sound great, but no. I will not do it. Especially in the beginning. Later on, it could be a fun one to have. But right here, no. I will wait. That's for sure. Overfunded adds 100 billion additional. You can decide to use it. You can also decide not to use it. I think we're going to keep it here. Tech variety. Tech fields are randomized during different playthroughs on the same map. Unlike with Chaos Theory, some technologies are guaranteed to appear early or late. I'll just keep it out. The rest is basically not that needed. Because they are... Don't check these at all. Don't. Because they're just problems from start to finish. So what you basically need are these. So you can see that so the first 3 is off, and then it's basically like this all the way down. I'll just leave it for a little bit so you can continue. or do that in your game. And when we have selected, we go back. So now we have 11 rules. Let's press next, and we will get what should be on our very first rocket. We got the prefabs, we got one drone hub, we got one moisture vaporizer, and we got 2 Stirling generators. These are different buildings, and they all have their own things. For example, the drone hub here controls drones and allocates them to different tasks. Good idea to have that. Fuel refinery, we will build that building ourselves quite early on when we get the tech for it. It's not that necessary in the beginning, but it will be one of the first buildings we will get. What it basically does is it makes fuel out of water. That's all it does. Moisture vaporizer produces water from the atmosphere. Production lowered when placed near other vaporizers. No production during dust storms. We don't have dust storms activated, so that won't be happening. Stirling generator generates power. While closed, the generator is protected from dust but produces less power. I think it's something that it makes 10 when it starts, or when it's closed, and 20 when it's not closed, so it's 100% increase. So you need to be very careful about these. Polymer, small machine parts, small electronic and electronic factory. We will get to those later on. What they basically do is that they produce different things that you want to have, to maintain and to use for other buildings. Machine parts, for example, is to be used for some buildings and some maintenance, and they are being produced in the machine part factory from metals that we will discover. So we will keep it as it is here. It's a good start. These rovers right here, keep those: the commander, the explorer, and the transport. Don't select anything else. If you want to select or change, you can always use this minus button and the plus button. The drones, we get 6 drones from the beginning. That's a good start. And then the prefab building up here, the drone hub, also has an additional few drones that will be activated when that building is built. Metals, we don't have any metals from the beginning. No concrete, no food. We have 15 polymers, 15 machine parts, 10 electronics, and we have 4 orbital probes. Reveals underground deposits in the scanned area. That is a very nice thing, and we will use them almost immediately. So keep it as it is right here with this load right here. It's a very, very good one. When we have done that, we press next. And we will have to select our spot. There's some different things, of course. You can see this spot I found right here has pretty okay with metals, both normal metal and rare metals. It has a lot of concrete and it has a lot of water. Good start. There are, of course, some pre-selected ones that will have different signatures, as you can see, resources and so on. Some of them are really good, some of them are not so good. You can also see the average altitude, the temperature, and the topography. If you, for example, select something like, let's say right here, let's select right here, for example, you can see it's rough, so it's rough terrain. That means there's a lot of small boulders, and the terrain might include some mountains and similar. The best thing is, of course, to go for a relatively flat area. That's at least one of the best places you can start with. I'm keeping it somewhere around here. It doesn't really matter if it's there or if it's here or whatever it is. It's not the biggest difference. I think we're going to start it around here. You can see the data up here, and of course also the resources. But if you want to have a challenge, you can always go, for example, down here, and you can see there's far less concrete but the same amount of metals. But if we go up here, you can see it's rough. There's basically the same. And the further south, you can see this area down here is not really good, as it has very little water, very little concrete, and only medium metal. So it's really important to select the right location. Always go with, especially in the beginning, with a location where there's a lot of metal and concrete and water. That's the best thing to do. And when that's done, we'll just say you can select custom, and then you can select a coordinate there. I've just selected this one, and we will start. And then we go into the game.